I was never much one to like hype myself up. If people were gonna put me down, I'd be the first one to do it. I would still try and tell myself like, man, yeah, you got no one around you, no one helping you out doing anything. You're still making it work, so that's you. I am just constantly trying to tell myself like, you are this, and it's like a positive thing. Like, you are funny, or like, you are the man.
The following is a podcast with Hunter Lewis. He's an actor and comedian who graduated from Toronto Film School and is currently a student with me at Humber for Comedy, Writing, and Performance. In the podcast, we talk about reshaping how you view yourself in order to see yourself in a positive light. Being a comedian basically means to get the negative qualities about yourself and just emphasizing it tenfold. My personal negative quality is my narcissism and my love of thyself. Look at this tattoo right here. Only a true narcissist would get that. But this mindset can ruin your self-esteem drastically. So this whole thing is about learning how to love yourself, if you want to make it corny. And in the words of my favorite artistic inspiration, David Cho, you are enough. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. What up, fools? This is the Joe Pedrosa podcast, episode number 38. Today, I'm back here with Hunter Lewis.
Me and Joe, back at it again.
How's it going, Hunter? What's going on?
Man, it's going good. It's going good. We're in the final couple weeks of school, so things are piling on. Just finished a hefty test today. Getting them grades in. Yeah. Trying to get on Dean's List one more time. Yeah. Just trying to get stuff done. Were you
on the Dean's List at midterms? If you could say, I don't know if that's private to you.
No, but I was really close.
Oh, okay,
I was
cool. Like 78?
So close.
What's the limit? 80 or 90?
Yeah. So to get on Dean's List, you have to have an average of 80.
Okay.
Right, just all around. So, for most of the classes, right, I'm at 85, 83, 85 in there, and then I had one or two classes that were like 76, and I'm like, come on.
Oh, yeah. GNET in English?
Yeah, honestly, it was GNET in English, and oddly enough, believe it or not, my English class, my teacher, he did this really weird thing with our curriculum. Okay, so what happened was we have Blackboard, right? You can see all your assignments and stuff like that, and we're supposed to do like this weekly test/quiz thing, and it's supposed to be like what you learned that week, and it gets you a certain percentage each time you do it, right? Like 2 to 5% max. Yeah. So I had a pretty steady grade. I was sitting at that like 75 from the midterms. I'm like, okay, cool. We can work out from there. And then he decides to drop all the quizzes that day. They weren't there at the beginning.
You at the end.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Good job on your midterms, everybody. Here's 10 quizzes, and they will all affect your grade. They're all late now. So I was at 76, and then I look back at my grade, and you're at 43.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
that's
seriously.
crazy.
I'm like, this ain't fair. This cannot be true.
Yeah, and everyone's going through that too, right?
Yeah.
I'd assume.
Everyone in the class is going through it. So I noticed, like, I kind of sit near the back, and so nowadays you see everybody with a laptop, right? Yeah. So I'm seeing screens. It's like red everywhere, dude. And so I'm like, clearly this is happening to everybody. Yeah. So no one was saying anything. I'm like,
you have to be the fucking overman.
Yeah, no, honestly. So I'm like, hey, teach, what is happening? What's all this about? He's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, my bad. And that was it. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about?
Did you say, let's fix it?
Yeah, I'm like,
nothing?
Dude, I'm trying to get on Dean's List. Yeah. Also, pass. Passing is good. Yeah. So, no, anyway, enough students complained that he's like, oh, you know what, I probably should fix this. I should do something about it. So, we got it back, and he fixed all the grades.
That's good.
And, it felt kind of good to just be like, hey, you know what? I'm taking this back. I'm taking this back for me and all my classmates.
Yeah. Me and Conan and I, another comic in the program, we have English, and she sent this announcement like saying this test worth this % of your grade is going out, but nobody looks at least Conan and I, we don't look at Blackboard at all. Right. Because like all of our classes are like mainly in person. Yeah. And then nobody else like in the class saw it either. And then we had like a fucking revolution in class. Like everyone was like, yeah, I don't think. And I was like in class, I was like, can we get a raise of hands? Who didn't do the test? Yeah, but
Man, fair enough, dude.
Yeah, so you're my first guest who I've had back on the podcast.
Yeah, no, it feels pretty awesome.
Yeah, is there a reason you wanted to come back? Because I'm gonna ask everyone to come back eventually, but you're the one, you reached out to me. Is there any reason why, or?
Well, this is a cool thing to do other than just sitting in my room playing video games. You know. That being said, it was just also kind of fun to kind of deep dive into some stuff. You know.
Yeah.
Like, you think about things, and then you don't actually think about them.
Yeah,
you know?
you're like, that's it.
They just kind of go like, oh, that was a neat thing that just happened anyways, you know? In this podcast, the first time I did it, I was like, oh, I actually never thought about this, you know?
Yeah.
And so you'll probably have some kind of question linking back to the first one, but
I have your answers from last time.
I will say what kind of started off was listening to that podcast.
Yeah.
And when was that? Like October?
It was like September. It was like the second week, because I remember I was like, I'm gonna get on the fucking grind, and then I paused for like 3 months.
Hey man, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, I know.
That's just the way it goes. But I listened to that podcast. I was walking to the grocery store or something like that, and I'm listening to all my answers, and I'm like, that's not cool.
Oh, okay. What wasn't cool like about it?
We were talking a lot about addiction.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And that's a big problem for everybody.
Of course.
Some things. You know? So I was listening to that. I'm like, I'm sounding kind of like a slave to these things, you know.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I'm like, maybe this is kind of like my wake up call, because if this is what I'm presenting to the internet, me being this guy who's just getting high all the time, you know, I'm like, if I was looking at this as a random person, I'm like, this guy's not cool. This guy's kind of nuts, you know.
Yeah.
So
which you're not, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know, you're a great dude. Yeah. A little bit. Yeah. All of us are.
Yeah. But so I listened to that, and we did that in September, and it came out like
January.
January. Yeah.
First week of January.
Yeah. So before I had listened to it, I started working on just dwindling off that stuff.
Yeah.
Like roughly around October.
Yeah.
Right. And
Sober October.
Sort of like sober halfway through October.
Yeah.
You know? So I tried to just wean off some things, and it was like 3 years consistently of doing that. So that's in your routine.
Yeah,
that's
of course. And it's very hard to break that,
like,
when you're so consistent at it every single day.
Oh, exactly. It's like, 7 o'clock, let's go outside. Let's have a good time. And it's like
almost automatic.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's like, I just had dinner. Let's go. This is what I'm doing now, because this is what I have been doing. Mm-hmm. So, I kind of wanted to start breaking that, not be kind of locked into that situation. And since then, I haven't touched any weed since.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's very good of you, Hunter.
Yeah, no, I mean... It's one thing of many, but one dragon at a time.
Yeah. So what was the process like giving that up? You've been doing it for like 7 years, you say, or I don't know.
3 years.
Probably 3 years. That's okay. You were doing it for 3 years, and then you're trying to break that pattern. What was that process like for you?
Well, you hear some horror stories.
Yeah.
People start shaking.
Yeah.
People start like sweating, can't sleep. And
it's like fucking 2 a.m. You're just staring at the ceiling.
It's like, what would really help right now?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know what kind of what it started out like was just it was very, very stagnant. Like, time was kind of still for a while. It felt like everything was just like a blur.
Yeah.
And it was just gray. And
it was gray.
Kind of gray, but I think you were like, last time I was on, you were mentioning about the dopamine.
Yeah, the dopamine detox.
Yeah. And I'm not going through a full detox, but like, I am taking away a big chunk of it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, out of the things that I do, that's the one that would give me the most of a
like the happy hormone.
So, taking that away, everything was just like, I feel drained. I feel tired. I'm like kind of grumpy,
Yeah.
Getting agitated with some stupid crap in class,
Yeah.
But like, after a while, I started sleeping a little bit better. I started not caring.
Okay.
Like, the biggest thing that kicked me into doing it was not only talking about how locked in I was, but it was also like, I was very new to the city at that point, and I noticed myself getting more and more paranoid. Like, I remember this one night specifically, I'm playing video games with my friends, and we're all talking and having a great time, and I take a hit of my dab pen.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, all right, let's go get the bad guys. You know, I'm ready to go. And then, like, 3 seconds later, I'm like, I regret this instantly.
Oh, okay.
Now, the next couple hours of my life are going to be like, I'm stuck. You know, I can't get out of this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that definitely helped me out.
Yeah, I understand that feeling. When I was like, I quit in like 2019. I smoked some weed at a party, and then I don't know if this is for you, but like it makes you hyper aware of everything. It
can.
Yeah,
it definitely can.
I was like at a party, and this like I was like trying to talk to people, but the way I was just communicating just didn't make sense to them, and I don't even think it was coming out of my mouth like correctly as well. And I was like, man, I really don't know how to talk to people. And I was like, then I like went by like in the corner of like the fucking party, and I'm like, I seem like a fucking lunatic right now.
Right.
And that was like the wake up call of like, maybe weed is not the good thing, because like it gets you so trapped in your head.
Yeah.
Did you feel that as well?
I found in certain situations I felt like that.
Yeah.
Parties are not a great time
to smoke.
To smoke weed.
Yeah.
And depending who you are. Like I have a buddy who we had a huge party at St. Patrick's Day, and he's like, we're gonna pregame and we're gonna have some bowls.
Yeah.
And we're having a good time, right?
Yeah.
And then he would just go back and forth, like one beer, one bowl, and he was chilling. He was used to it. That was his routine.
Yeah.
And I'm not dogging him for it. You know, he's found his sink, and that's his own thing that he's got to deal with. But, like, parties are rough because there's that pressure of social interaction.
Yeah.
And
you're just like, how do I go up to, like, you're like, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, no, exactly. And, like, I found that marijuana for me was very, very inner dialogue.
Okay.
Heavy, you know,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what I'm thinking about rather than I'm thinking about what I'm talking about. Like when you're talking, you kind of sound ridiculous, right? I remember looking at my sister once, and we were both doing it. I'm like, whispers are just words in black and white.
Yeah.
And then she's like, What did you just say to me? Yeah, and like,
can you decipher that now that you're sober?
I mean, yeah,
right? What does that mean?
I thought it was so funny that I wrote it down on my phone. I'm like, I have to see this later. And like, yeah, no, it's ridiculous. But I think what I was thinking about was, I don't know, like when you're talking like this.
Yes.
You have some kind of inflection. You have some flavor on what you're saying.
Oh, I see.
You know?
Yeah.
But if you're talking like this, it's like you're kind of going black and white.
Yeah, because there's like nothing. There's like no tone.
Yeah.
There's like no character in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. There, you kind of lose that power from in here.
Yeah.
It's all kind of up here. So
it's like your head voice versus your chest voice. You ever heard about that? Yeah. There's like two different voices we use.
I haven't heard that. No.
Yeah, that's like I don't know. It's like this vocal thing.
Oh, that's
but
cool.
So do you feel like now that you're not smoking, you're at like a baseline level? Like you went back to your base. There's this thing called the hedonic treadmill where like we go up and down. We kind of learned in GNED how like you think these things are going to make you super happy, but they're not. Like they'll make you happy, but then you'll return to a baseline. But the same thing with down. Like when you're down here, you go back to the center. Do you feel like you're back at a baseline now that you're not smoking?
Right, yeah.
Or is it still like black and white everywhere?
So when I was, it's kind of, to like go into depth with that, I kind of got to give you a time frame of over the past years, you know? Like when I first started out, everything was great. Everything was grand. It was awesome, right? And then over time, that great grandness kind of dwindled a bit, right? And then to the very last stage, it was going down when I was doing it, right? And so then when I was in that point, I wasn't as sharp when I was just talking to people socially.
Yeah. When you're were you sober when you're talking to people, or?
No, yeah. Like if I was sober, but I was still doing.
But you're like, you do it later, yeah.
Yeah. I was just not there fully. So when I stopped, it was down for a bit. It wasn't like too drastic.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as what a lot of people say it is, and that could just be my experience, not everyone's experience. It is a very personal thing, but after a while, things start getting like pretty good.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's once you stop counting the days, you know?
Yeah, because then if you count the days, then it's just like you're kind of like waiting to come back. You know,
like,
you don't.
oh,
You,
man.
yeah, you don't have to tell people I'm this amount of days
Yeah,
if
it's been
you're not the
7
thing.
days. Yeah,
you know.
it's like, you should be proud of me because I said 7 days today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we're going to be at 0.
Yeah.
But I don't have to tell you that.
Yeah,
The last
of
thing you
course.
remember is I said 7 days.
Yeah.
But, like, recently, like, very recently, this is now going past, I think, I don't know, I think 6 months sounds about right.
Yeah. About that.
Stopped counting the days like a while ago, and I'm doing very well.
Yeah.
If you're going back to the hedonic thing, I feel like I'm up here rather than here. You know, I'm riding that wave, and I don't think that's necessarily because of just the lack of weed. Like, there's some other pretty dope things that are happening.
Let's hear them.
I mean, definitely feeling like an absolute social king recently. dude.
Yeah?
I don't know. Like, yeah, you know, in high school, everybody's kind of like, oh, man, who am I?
Yeah, right?
You know? You start listening to sad music because you want to feel sad.
Yeah, and it's like a Monday, you're all fucked up. It's like
oh,
raining.
It's raining.
Yeah.
You can listen to sad music on the bus and just pretend I'm in the music video. You know?
Dude, I feel like there's like a level of nihilism that
Yeah.
happens when we're like 18. At least that happened for me. I was like, I remember because I wanted to invite my old teacher, and then I like looked at our old messages, and it was like, what do you think the purpose of life is? I was like,
Yeah, that's right.
why would I say that to
Yeah.
my fucking teacher, dog?
Fair enough.
Yeah, but there is a level of nihilism.
Yeah, I
where-
think there's nihilism and also a bit of like masochism. Like some people
Okay.
like that they're like that. you know?
they kind of get off on self-pity and like
Yeah, in a way.
their sadness.
You know, like I would know people, and I think everyone kind of knew people who would like make themselves feel bad so that they can get like their friends to make them feel better.
Interesting. Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
I knew this one dude in high school who would just constantly be like, "Oh man, I hate myself. I'm so ugly and all
Yeah.
this, that, and the other." And it's like it wasn't far off, but I'm joking. But he was just very much like that, and it made it kind of hard to be around because I felt like constantly we had to be like, "No, man, you're good. You're
Yeah.
you're a fun guy to hang around with. You know, you talk to people. You're not a complete weirdo. You have some weird things. We all do.
Yeah, of course.
It's just the way it goes."
Yeah, and you feel like that's kind of like draining, draining you
is
as a
draining.
person.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, do I like stop talking to them for like my own mental well-being?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I saw one of these like Facebook mom posts.
Yeah.
You ever go on Facebook and it's like the live, laugh, love of memes, you know?
Okay, yeah.
There was this thing, it's like sometimes holding on is what causes the pain. And it was like this hand holding onto a rope.
It's like a kitty.
It was like all red up here,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
it let go, and then the red hand went
Oh,
away
yeah.
because the pressure's gone, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I mean, as lame as that is, that's fair.
You're like as bars, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're saying how you feeling good
Yeah.
back in high school. Oh,
Yeah.
were you getting into something there? And then
I think so.
Yeah,
but
what
that-
was it? We were getting.
Yeah.
So back in high school, we're like all kind of shitty. And
Yeah, yeah, it
and
kind
then-
of always was. And then
Yeah.
you kind of have this like idea of yourself and who you want to be. And then I don't know, maybe this could have just been me. I was trying to be the person I wanted to be, but I did it in a very fake way.
Who did you want to be?
I wanted to be, I guess, the person I am now. I wanted to be
Okay.
very confident
Yeah.
in who I am. Very confident in talking to people and being a person that people want to talk to.
Yeah.
And just being somebody who's like, oh man, we gotta invite this Hunter guy. He's gonna be so dope.
Yeah.
You know. So when I was doing my first bit of post-secondary, I went to the Toronto Film School,
Ooh.
which is kind of dope.
No OSAP for Toronto Film School, is it?
No, there was OSAP,
Okay.
but OSAP.
I always thought they were like a separate entity.
Oh no, it worked with
Yeah.
a little bit of maneuvering, but
Yeah.
OSAP helped barely. It was so expensive.
Yeah.
So expensive. I'm
Yeah.
still in debt. But I mean, I'm gonna be in debt for a while, especially adding on to this. But like,
Yeah.
either way, when I was in TFS, I was trying to be that bombastic personality, the cool, funny guy, and it was weird because it was acting.
And also, was it online?
It was online.
So how
That was tough.
how do you translate that online? I feel like that's so much
Yeah.
harder as well.
I had to be very physical and loud.
Yeah.
Use a computer to like your advantage, I guess. I don't really quite know. Like, you still have to be, like, sharp.
Yeah.
Like, as if you were in person. But you kind of have an advantage of, like, you know, when you're on Zoom, you have the gallery view. You can see everybody. Right? And people think that, you know, it's just one of many screens. You're not being looked at. I was, like, scanning everybody.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what can I say about this person? They're petting their cat. I'd be like, hey, man, what you doing with that cat?
Yeah.
Can I pet it? It's like, this is the dumbest stuff. And everyone thought it was so funny because I was the only guy trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Everyone else wanted to be like a dramatic
actor. Yeah.
And oh man, the people who would like take themselves too seriously, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
They're like, don't talk to me.
Oh, are you
like,
serious?
dude, we are not even in the same building.
Yeah.
And you're trying to like, you're like up to your computer like, yo, what are you gonna do?
You're trying to make it look big, like as pixels on a screen, bro.
I'm like, you know what, man?
Yeah.
Go away.
So you didn't feel like you felt like you were trying too hard, was it?
I felt like I was trying too hard a little bit. You
Yeah.
know, I definitely had this idea that not the center of attention, but I wanted. How about this? I didn't want to move to the center of attention. I wanted the center of attention to move to me because I didn't want to look like I was desperate for it.
Yeah.
You know, so I was doing things to try and make people laugh, but not because I wanted everyone to think I'm the guy who's trying to make them laugh. It's a very complex way of explaining it, but that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I understand. Do you think, I guess like this is kind of like everybody in this program.
Oh, yeah.
Like, would you find yourself as like an attention whore? Because like, at least for me, I mean, like fucking, how does that do you matter, bro? And I'm like, I used to like post so much on like social media trying to be like, you know, those like justice virtue people, like trying to be good. Like I'm such a good person, but like now trying to do comedy, I'm like, no, I'm kind of shitty. Like I'm a fucking asshole.
Except
you know?
it's always fun.
Yeah, but like I try to make it funny.
I mean,
you know?
I don't think you're an asshole. Just saying.
Yeah, maybe I just like do it extra for like the stage and shit.
Right.
But do you feel like what role has attention played in your life?
Right. Yeah. No. Definitely wanted to crave it.
Yeah.
You know. Definitely was like, I need it. You
Yeah.
know, I wanted to be that guy, but then I kind of.
Where do you think it comes from? Like just as performers,
I don't know.
like as comics, you know, like
Yeah,
why do we care so much? You know.
I think it definitely stems like a childhood thing. I would imagine.
Yeah.
You know.
Like kids weren't like I was like the quiet kid in school.
You were
know?
or were not?
Yeah. I was up until like high school. And elementary school, dude, I didn't talk to anybody. I was like, I had my group of friends, but like, you know, I just kind of stay quiet and like I just felt like I didn't have a voice, you know. Maybe that was it. Did you feel like that at all?
In elementary school, I probably should have been more quiet. I wasn't like a mouthpiece or anything, but like I don't know. I wouldn't say dumb things, but I would just say things that I don't know, didn't need to be said because back then I still wanted that attention.
Yeah.
Right? And I wasn't by any means a rule breaker, but I think I'm strong enough now to say it. I was annoying. I was a bratty little kid.
What would you do? That would be
Man, just like a variety of things. I don't know. I would. There's just one instance. What was it? We were playing this thing of Simon Says, right? In grade 3.
Yeah.
And we know, do whatever Simon says. If you do something that Simon didn't say, you have to sit down, crisscross applesauce. All right.
Yeah, I don't know that.
You never heard that?
I think so. I thought Simon Says was just like.
Well, no, I'm just saying this particular instance, you had to sit down and get lost, right?
Yeah.
But I remember there was this one girl I hated. She was annoying in my perspective. She was definitely, and this is grade 3, to have like a popularity hierarchy is insane.
Yeah.
But like she was one of the more popular kids. She was more like she was in sports and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought she sucked. She was a part of this group of very, very mean people.
Oh, like the Mean Girls. Third grade edition.
It was like mean guys and girls that were all doing like AAA hockey and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
In
yeah.
grade 3
in grade
AAA
3
hockey. You know, like you're good, but you're also great in grade 3. So they thought they were it, and they'd make fun of a lot of people. I was offing that person. And she got out, even though I was already out. But I'm like, ha, you lost too, right?
Yeah.
So I pointed, I'm like, ha. As she was sitting down, right in the eye. Poked her right in the eye, and she was bawling. I'm like, oh no. If I was already kind of unpopular, this sealed it in, you know?
Yeah.
But that being said, being at like the bottom of the leaderboard kind of helped me realize what true friends were like, because I always had these two guys that they knew.
They were like ride or dies with you.
Yeah, they knew that I wasn't well liked, and that kind of associating with me at the time was not ideal. But they still hung around.
That's
and I
good.
still talk to them. They're good people.
Those are like true friends right there.
Yeah.
Let's move on to some of the questions I asked you.
Yeah.
Let's kind of, I kind of want to compare from like the first ones I asked you in September.
Cool.
Currently, the theme that you're going through, before you said self-understanding, where you're going, where do you want to go, and can you control it? And now you're talking about mental strength.
Yeah.
So mental strength, what does mental strength mean to you? Fighting the demons
Fighting the demons,
2 a.m.?
Yeah, I think for the longest time I kind of just gave in to any kind of negative thought, you know? I'm like, it just makes more sense that, you know, things aren't going your way. And you have to just be okay with that. And now I'm like, well, that doesn't make no fucking sense.
Yeah.
That's kind of ridiculous. These past few weeks even, like every day I'm feeling just a bit more confident, building up my ego, which is something I felt like I never had. I'm like, for once, I'm kind of putting myself in front, you know? Feeling pretty dope about that.
Do you think having an ego is dangerous? Because at least, I don't know, for me, I got a big ego, you know? And I think with having a big ego, it's like you either like love yourself or you hate yourself, you know? So, because I completely understand the thing of like you don't deserve it. You're shit, you know, like it just gets you that self-talk. But then like something happens and then you're like, whoa, I'm the shit right now, bro. Boy, like I'm the champion, bro. You're going fucking crazy. Yeah. But I feel like that's kind of dangerous. Like that turning point for me, and we could talk about it for you as well. I got the scholarship, and you got the scholarship in first semester. You know, did that feed your ego in the first semester?
It definitely helped me stay on track.
Yeah.
You know, I was definitely not feeling ideal the first few weeks. I think we were talking about this in the first podcast. I didn't really like the people we were with at first. I didn't really enjoy the rigmarole of the classwork, and I felt like I wasn't doing things right. Because in Coburg, I'm the funniest guy in Coburg. Coming to a classroom of 19 people where everyone's trying to be the funniest person and putting people down because they're not as funny, when in reality it's all incredibly subjective.
Exactly. Yeah.
I wasn't into that. I'm like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And then I got my scholarship, and I'm like, this is nice. This is good.
Yeah.
And like, one of those people who tend to put people down, I think we kind of both know. They're like, wow, we all can just say that Hunter is objectively funnier than all of us in first semester, right? And so that scholarship kind of was like, okay, maybe I have something more than I'm giving myself credit for, you know?
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of my turning point to giving myself more credit. Like, like you receive a compliment, you know, like people have told me like, Hunter, you're funny, you're a funny guy. I'm like,
you just wouldn't believe them.
Oh yeah, no, it's like you know, you wouldn't add on to what you already believe. Like, I believe I can be funny. I believe I'm a funny guy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So like, you're a funny guy. I'm like, I mean, I can be funny. I don't think I'm a funny guy.
Yeah,
you know, so I kind of would just throw it away. So now, being in the city where there is so many more people telling me that, I'm like, maybe they're onto something here. I think they're kind of right. So,
yeah. Going back to the ego thing. So, do you think ego is dangerous at all, like for you specifically, or just in general?
I think I've gone long enough without having one.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I guess I had one, but it was not strong.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was never much one to like hype myself up. You know, if people were gonna put me down, I'd be the first one to do it. I remember saying, what was it? Yeah, there was this one coach. It was in my high school wrestling team. I had previously done wrestling, and I did well in it. But when I was in high school, I wasn't doing as well because it was like a higher class. These are like guys who are like, you know, midst of puberty, and they're like ready to go.
Oh yeah,
They're and like pretty athletic people, right? Who have been training a lot longer than I have. See, I'm lucky enough to just have like the weight and balance in wrestling, but not the technique.
Oh yeah,
I didn't have the technique. These guys had technique.
Yeah, you're so fucking crazy.
I've never been turned over so fast.
Yeah.
I felt like a helpless turtle just like trying to get over.
Yeah.
But my coach, he was just getting mad at me. And he's just like, why are you even here? Like, if you're gonna have all these bad things happening to you, you should just quit. Like, and the one thing I told him was, like, anything you can say to me, I've already said to myself in like a much worse way.
Oh yeah.
So like, what you're gonna say is not gonna make me
It
quit.
like doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm going to still keep trying.
Yeah.
And keep going. And
so it was kind of beneficial in a way, but like like the most unhealthiest way to do it.
Yeah. So yeah, but like going back to the ego thing, like now having something a lot bigger is I think for me helpful. It's really been helping me feel good about myself.
Yeah.
Doing some damage control for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really just trying to reshape how I treat myself in my own head.
Yeah. Do you say like anything to yourself of like kind of like just appreciation, I guess, because that's like what I would notice, at least with myself. I'm like, I would do something, or I just think about something I've done, and I'm like, wow, you're so shit, Joe. Why? And then you just like go down into the spiral. You get all fucked up. And
the spiral.
I literally have to like pick myself up and be like, Joe, like, it's okay. That was in the past. You're a different person. Like, you're okay, and like you're good. Like that. I think that's why I'm like so obsessed with like shows like BoJack Horseman with The Good Place, because it's about like shitty people trying to be better. You know what I mean? So do you ever feel that like do you have a process? Do you do that like in general still?
I think time is the biggest part of that. There's an art to forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
You know. There's been a lot of things I've done in the past that I'm like, I will never forgive myself for this. This was horrible. This is not something that was good.
Yeah.
And it hurt people, hurt me, hurt people that I love, you know, so that's kind of an asshole move, man. It only took me like recently to kind of like start forgiving myself because I was in a much different place. I was a lot younger. So much dumber. Just so much dumber.
I think your early 20s is about just being fucking so stupid and just like learning from it, you know?
Like, you gotta understand that, like, 21 is still very young.
Yeah, it's like 3-year-old adult, you know? You ever hear that?
Yeah.
Like when you're 18, you start back and you're like a 1-year-old adult, 2-year-old adult, you know?
Yeah.
We're also just trying to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for being like so vulnerable and like...
Hey, you gotta do it once in a while.
Yeah.
You know? Now, after this, it's going right back in the bottle. Put in the cap.
Yeah, that's the reason for a long time I didn't give people like my podcast and my videos. Because I'm like super vulnerable. Like I just met you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But let's move on to the second thing. I'm currently struggling with. We kind of touched on this earlier because this is your last name for multiple addictions, but now you're talking about procrastination.
Yeah, I mean, as much as this is primarily school oriented, like I have to still do that written assignment for Gen Ed.
You didn't do it yesterday, bro?
No, I did not. I got distracted and went to the comedy show.
Oh yeah.
I guess I should probably do it today, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, I really just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Because I looked at it, I'm like,
this is a lot of work.
This is a lot of work. This
yeah.
is also stuff that I'm kind of not fully sure about. And I should have been paying attention in class, but I was too busy making the sickest beats. Check me out on SoundCloud, okay?
What's the URL?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, what's the username?
The username, I think it's like Hunter L51, or I think I changed it now to just Hunter. And I'm like so surprised it was not taken. I'm like, what?
Just Hunter.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the bio.
Yeah. Why do you think you're procrastinating so much? Because I feel like a huge part of just like one's well-being is the pursuit or like the improvement towards the thing they want to do, which is like ultimately for you would be a comedic actor, stand-up. But like you create because there's some other people in this program that are kind of lazy, you know.
Oh yeah.
So like, but it's like I've talked to them and they're like, I don't know if I'm gonna have a future in comedy because of how lazy I am. You know, so you're like, it's like it is a mental block, it's a physical block, but why do you think that's happening?
Yeah, I think there's definitely an element of laziness in there, you know.
Yeah.
Like for example, like doing a yuck spot. Right? I don't want to go up at Yucks and do the same set I've already done.
Yeah.
In the sense that I just don't want to be a broken record.
Same guy.
I want to have something new. Yeah, I want to get better at observing things and making jokes.
Yeah.
If I rely on the same things, then I feel like it's not going to be good. And I know there's going to be comedians that be like, no, you got to do the same thing. It's going to be better in different rooms. You got to shape it up better. And I can get behind that. I have to find a joke that's good enough that I want to keep, that I can keep sharpening and getting better. The jokes that I have now are not ideal, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the procrastination when it comes to the yuck stuff is that I now have to make a new set. I don't want to go back to yucks because it means I got to make a new set.
Yeah.
And that kind of ties into me kind of knowing I don't want to do stand-up because I'm not excited. I'm not excited to write things down and try and be funny. I'm like, I can be funny in other ways.
Yeah, and I feel like I was talking to Mark last week on the podcast. He was like, he's worked on his album for 15 years.
Right.
Imagine doing the same set of jokes for like 15 years. That's crazy.
That's it. That is wild.
Yeah, and like I completely understand. I'm like, why would I don't want to like just keep doing the same thing for like that's like a fucking insanity at that point. But like if you, at least for me, like my craft is like videos, new script, new film.
Yeah.
Then it's like different a little bit, you know?
It is nice to just keep yourself with
new projects. Yeah.
Fingers in different pies kind of thing. Right?
But what are you trying to do then if not stand up?
Not stand up. I definitely love me some sketch.
Yeah.
I love me some sketch.
Stage or
I could
film?
definitely do stage and film. Like, I'm pretty good under pressure. Like we have our student show coming up and I'm in like how many of those?
You're in a lot. I was talking to someone else about them. We were like, I'm pretty sure Hunter's in like most of these.
Yeah. And I'm loving that.
Yeah.
Because there's these things that are going through my head, and this is also kind of helping me with the ego thing. It's like people are observing me not only being good at memorizing, which is the big part of all of that, but also putting a personality to the piece of paper that they created.
Yeah.
And they liked it. You know, they casted me for a reason. Yeah. And I got to remind myself that. And if I'm ever having any self-doubt, it's like you are doing things that other people are liking so much that they are putting you in their things that they want to feel good about as well. Like you're contributing to them making them getting good feelings, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I think that's just kind of where I'm at, you know?
Has that fed your ego, like being in all those
I think so.
scripts?
A bit.
Yeah.
I also just genuinely enjoy talking with our teachers about
like how to be better.
Not even how to be better. It's just like, okay, what's your take on this? Because this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty confident in what I think can be added to a scene or a script or something like that. Because I've got like a huge like Rolodex of sketch shows and live performances that I can take back from that I've seen work, you know?
Yeah.
And so if I have something that I remember...
Like archival of other people's or yourselves? Yeah.
Of other people, like, you know, sketch shows like Mad TV.
Yeah.
Kids in the Hall for a premium example. I love that show so much.
Yeah.
And, you know, like SNL, to a degree. SCTV.
SCTV.
Yeah, like all
Do they
these.
still do SCTV?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, really?
My dad looked at me. He's like, "You should totally recreate that."
Yeah.
Like, that'd be sick.
Dude, are you thinking of taking a second city during the summer at all?
No, man. Unfortunately, not. I got secured for a full-time job.
Yeah.
7 to 3 every day, which is not bad. It's actually apparently really good.
Yeah. Just like less time to do comedy, but
yeah,
you need to, like, we all need to work.
Yeah,
you
I'm
know
only
what I
gonna have weekends, and sometimes I still have to work the odd weekend.
mean? Yeah.
Which kind of sucks.
But you're gonna try to do comedy in the summer.
I'm gonna try and do what I can.
Yeah.
I got a drama teacher who owns a coffee place now in
Oh, yeah?
Coburg, and they have a stage.
That's really cool.
So
So what would you do? Would you write do like a one-man show?
That's the thing. I'm trying to talk to Mark about this because Mark is in Coburg for in a week in August.
Okay.
And so if I have something set up, he's like, "I'll come down and do something."
Wow.
I'm like, "Well, that's great."
Yeah, that's
That would be
crazy.
awesome. I'm like, that way, whatever I'm doing can actually be a little bit more solidified in the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
Problem is, it would have to be on a weekend, which and I don't know if they have like other things going because Coburg is primarily a music town, like an acoustic.
Oh yeah, is
music
it?
town.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
Yeah, like I think the biggest. I wouldn't even say it's the biggest restaurant, but I think the most popular restaurant in Coburg right now is Arthur's. It's attached to a Best Western, or sorry,
Like a
Best
hotel?
Western Plus. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's got a pool, but there's this really nice pub in there, Arthur's, and they got really cool interior. They got really amazing food, and yeah, they have like live music almost every single day.
Yeah.
So it's a very big music town.
But you think it's like you're gonna be competing with them as a
I think
entertainer?
I think so.
Yeah.
With a town that's more about music and like the vibes of music, I would think it would be a lot harder to get them to be interested in comedy.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm not amazing at it yet.
Do you think you do stand up or a one man show like a Crystal type thing?
Well, I definitely don't think it would be a one-man show kind of thing. I wouldn't do. I might do
Sketches?
stand-up. I was thinking maybe more even improv and like getting people in the community involved.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because like we have the Northumberland Players, we have the Capitol Theater. Capitol Theater is now mainly doing stuff with union actors.
Yeah.
And primarily from Toronto.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes some of the locals mad because it's supposed to be local theater.
Yeah.
You know, and it's our best stage. And, man, I remember my mom was actually pretty mad about it because we did a lot of plays. That's what got me into doing a lot of this entertaining stuff was that we do plays all the time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, a lot of the locals didn't get to do much. And then you can still do stuff with the Northumberland Players, but a lot of the stuff they do, due to their lack of a huge stage like the Capitol Theater, they have to rely on plays with smaller casts. Like my mom was recently in a play with only 4 people, and she was one of the 4 people.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
So if you want to do something, it's kind of hard to do because not only do you have to be already talented enough to be picked for something with only 4 slots, you also have to commit like a lot of time to this one thing. And so I'm like, if I set up an improv thing and you're in the crowd and you just want to try something, and maybe you're even a little tipsy or something, or overly caffeinated, and you're just excited to try something.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I'm no improv whiz, but I think I can hold up with other people.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
And if I can get some other people to come down, like if Mark is interested to come down, and I'm there as well,
I'm sure you can also get people in the program too.
I mean, maybe if anyone's willing to make the trip. It's like about a half hour away from Oshawa.
How
Right.
far is Oshawa?
Oshawa from the Long Branch GO station,
Yeah.
right? You have to go to Union
Yes.
first. So that's about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Then Union to Durham College, which is the Oshawa stop. Mm-hmm. That's about an hour and 20 minutes on the GO train.
Hour 20. Okay.
But if you're driving, it's harder in Etobicoke because it's like a little bit further than Toronto, right? Because Coburg's super, super east, like southeast. And that would be about probably an hour 30, hour 40 on a good day.
Yeah, that's pretty far. But I'm sure some people would.
Yeah, probably. If Mark's doing it all the time, it's not that big a deal, I guess.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who are like sketch oriented in the program as well, rather than like stand-ups. Like there's a handful of stand-ups, but a lot of people who want to do acting. Chris, Vern, Ari, Conan. I think Conan's more of an acting thing, I think.
Conan, I believe he's kind of a jack of all trades in the sense that he's good at stand-up, but he doesn't
do it because he's lazy.
Doesn't do it because he can be lazy. Yeah. I don't know. He's good at writing.
Yeah.
He comes up with good ideas. I think the only problem with his writing is that he is very hard on himself about it.
Oh, okay.
He's like he'll ask people, which is a smart move. Is like, is this funny? And I'm like, yes, that's funny.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know. I think we need to change these things. I'm like, no, I bet you just like this is fine.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's a bit of that's definitely not procrastination, but like holding yourself, and stopping yourself before you just keep doing it.
It's like what you were saying earlier about the procrastination. So, coming from September to now, has your definition of funny changed? Like, what makes something funny, in your opinion? As the recipients of the scholarship for a semester.
When I first got here, I thought to be funny and respected is to be clever.
Okay.
My dad and I really, really love The Simpsons. And The Simpsons originally had Conan O'Brien on their writing staff. And Conan O'Brien went to Harvard. So if you... I know, Harvard for journalism.
Wow.
Right. He is good with words. He knows his stuff. We watched some Simpsons episodes, and we don't really realize at first, like, what we just watched was actually insanely clever.
Yeah.
Right?
What seasons would you say are the best?
I believe...
Like season 4 to 10?
It's all good. I think it's like 2 to 8 or 9.
Okay. I want to go back and rewatch The Simpsons. Like, literally just for that.
So good, man. It's so good.
No, they're very good, The Simpsons.
But, like, what has changed for me now is I do enjoy being clever, but I think I'd rather be clever in my writing. If I'm just doing jokes, like, just shooting them off, sometimes overthinking it's too much. Most times it's too much.
Yeah.
Like, I tried just going with the first draft that was in my head, you know? I think of something funny, I'm like, just shoot it right now, go. Shoot it.
Yeah.
And it works. It works well. But, like, me in first semester would be like, okay, that's a cool idea. Now how can I make it better?
How can you wordsmith it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that often kills it. Because now it's too much, you know? So... I found that it's like sometimes simplicity is key as long as you know when simplicity is key.
You're talking about how like you're not you don't want to write to go on stage for yucks or whatever. Have you ever tried writing on stage? A lot of people, well, Louis I know does that. I'm pretty sure Patrice O'Neill did that. Have you ever thought of doing it like that?
Well, yeah. Since we had that talk with Howie Mandel. Yeah. Right. I told myself that next time I do sign up for anything, any kind of open mic or yucks thing, I'm gonna just do bullet points. One word. That's gonna be the joke, and then I kind of fill in the blanks. Yeah. And as scary as that sounds, I feel like that's gonna be a lot better because I'm gonna come across a lot more natural. I'm gonna be talking to you like this rather than having this pre-planned, robotic sounding, inhuman speech that I've been memorizing for the past 3 days. Make sure to hit this point. Yeah. Make sure to emphasize this word. That's like for this long.
It's like Jerry Seinfeld type thing versus like Louis, you know? Yeah. Even Crystal, when I was getting my feedback from her first semester, she was just like, you sound like super rehearsed. Like what you need to do is just grab memorize it, but like throw it out the window after and just like just be more natural as like a human being. You know what I mean?
The one thing that I found like watching you do improv, like you can improv well, but you also find it funny when you're thinking of these like kind of stupid things. You know, you laugh at yourself. Sometimes you have to hold in that laughter and just be like, yeah, I just said this. I'm gonna be confident in what I just said. That's the difference. Really? You know it's not rehearsed. You know what you said was ridiculous, but you gotta double down.
Wait, can you give me like an example of like when you remember that?
Like for you?
Yeah.
I mean, even today, right? We're doing town hall. Yeah. And you're in the speech. You're like, okay, guys, we're talking about the squeaky wheels on the TTC, right? And then like you were saying something, you kind of started laughing.
Okay.
And I'm like,
don't laugh at yourself.
don't laugh at yourself.
Okay.
Don't laugh at yourself. Don't laugh at other people, because then it kind of takes away that like that veil of we're in a game. Now it's just like, okay, we're just a bunch of people having fun.
Okay.
The idea of the game is that we're supposed to be convincing
Yeah.
the audience that this is what's happening. Obviously, they know it's not.
Yeah.
But if their eyes were closed, maybe this could be a real wacky town hall. I don't know.
Do you feel like you do that yourself at all or no?
I try very hard. It's
Okay.
hard not to laugh when I say something and I know it's dumb, and I say it, and you know what? It was a horrible thing. It didn't work at all. It's hard not to laugh at that, because like everyone knows that it was just all in a whim.
Yeah.
And technically, you're doing the right thing going with the first draft, as I was telling you about. Like, that's how improv works.
Yeah.
You still got to make sure it works for the scene,
Yeah.
right? So.
Thanks for the advice. I appreciate it.
Oh man. No worries.
Let's move on to the last question. Ultimate truth. You can take a drink if you need to.
Yeah, thank you.
Ultimate truth you realize was that if you think you are, then you will be. Whoa. Very poetic.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. What was my first answer to that again?
When I took mushrooms, I realized the ultimate truth was that people I wanted to love me, sometimes aren't the people I should surround myself with.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely have always had this vibe of like, oh, let's come up with something deep. When I took mushrooms. No, man. I mean, yeah. It kind of goes back to the ego thing. Like, I am just constantly trying to tell myself, like, you are this, and it's like a positive thing. Like, you are funny. Or, like, someone says something about, like, my fucking calf muscles, right? They're like, you have huge calves. I'm like, thanks, I do. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's like the reaffirmation of
Yeah.
what other people say, but also, like, if you didn't have any outside influences, would you say that to yourself?
It would be a lot harder.
Yeah.
But let's say, I was like completely isolated and all I had was
Your thoughts.
my thoughts. It would be a lot harder, but I would still try and tell myself, like, man, you got no one around you, no one helping you out doing anything. You're still making it work, so that's you.
Yeah.
No one else is you right now, and you're making it work.
Yeah.
So you gotta give yourself some credit.
Is there a specific phrase you would tell yourself? Because at least for me, the phrase that I've been like repeating to myself in my head for like the past couple weeks is like, you are enough. Like, you are enough. Like, you are, you're not a bad guy. You are enough. Like, you are, that's what I just tell myself, because I'm enough,
Yeah, no, man, yeah.
Then you will be,
No, I totally get that.
Yeah.
And I think mine's just kind of like a variation of that. Yeah, it really is just as simple as you are the man. Like, you are killing it. Like, it's not even necessarily the man. Like, you are the guy. You're the one doing this right now. It can be anything for that specific situation. There's no like one universal line, I say. It's just like, for this instance, like, if I do really well in that test, right? I get out of that test, I'm looking awesome. Got my glasses on.
Yeah.
Got my sick hat. Got my sick outfit.
Yeah.
Shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's April. I'm like, I look fly as fuck.
Yeah.
Just killed that test. I'm the man right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I feel you.
And it's like, been feeling great.
Yeah. Like this morning, I did the beep test. Do you know what the beep test is?
I know the beep test.
Yeah. So
I
I'm
hate
like,
the beep test.
I'm like, because I'm doing Chippendales for the skit, right?
Yeah.
So I've been running every single day, but I've been like increasing levels each day. I started with level 6.
Oh, yeah.
And I just finished level 14. Level 14 is fucking hard. It's like
insane.
you could barely hit the fucking thing before you turn around. Yeah. But when I did it, I was like, for a second, I was like in the middle of the gym. I was like, oh, it's like kind of embarrassing. But like, I understand that feeling of like being the man, like being the guy. You know, like you have to tell yourself that like you're the shit, you know?
You gotta say it.
Or else, like, because who else is gonna say it? Like, we're only looking out for mainly we're looking out for ourselves.
Yeah.
There's no one here to save you.
What
You know what I
kind of
mean?
helped that, kind of even going back to that moment you had in the gym where you started like flexing and feeling
Yeah.
good about that shit, and you're like, oh, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like some guy in the gym just doing that, dog. Who cares? You
That's
know,
true.
Someone's
Yeah.
gonna look at you and they're gonna think, oh, that guy's so full of himself. And you're like, yeah, that's right, because I just did fucking 14 points on the beep test.
Yeah.
You do that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the one who did that. I deserve to have my moment because I
Mm.
put in the work and it went well.
Yeah.
You know.
See, this I should have you as like my inner dialogue,
Dog.
my motivational speaker, bro.
Get in that Neuralink, dude. I'll be on comms like, you got this.
But yeah, even with but I still think like you need to be a loser at a thing to like be a winner, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's
of
what
course.
at least I feel like with myself in comedy right now. Even though I got like the scholarship, I'm like I still like not to the point where I'm like you're fucking shitty as hell, but like you still need to be better. You know what I mean? Do you feel that at all?
There's this thing that Matthew McConaughey said that
Yeah?
kinda, I think is really cool. That kind of fits in with what we're talking about. Someone asked Matthew McConaughey once, like, who is your hero?
Oh,
He's like,
yeah.
that's simple. It's me in 10 years, right? So then 10 years later, that guy asked him, hey, are you your hero now? He's like, no, man, not even close.
Yeah.
I still got 10 years to go.
Also,
Like,
it just keeps going.
it keeps going.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, don't think of yourself as a loser in something. Think of yourself as kind of just still on the steps
The
going
steps
upward.
going up. Yeah.
Like, though you are on, like, level 100, guess what? There's still 1,000 more
1,000
steps
levels.
to go. Yeah. And that's a good thing. You're still making progress. You only
Yeah.
want to see yourself getting better. As soon as you stop is when you start to go backward. You know?
Yeah.
So that's just kind of why I think of that.
Yeah. We got 5 minutes left on the podcast. Last question I like to ask people is, do you think there's like a deeper meaning to it all? I don't remember your first answer, what you said.
A deeper meaning to it all.
Like do you ever think like when it's 2 a.m. you look up at your ceiling, a deeper meaning to life? Like what's the meaning?
I mean, I think, I don't know, and I'm just some 21-year-old who's in a comedy program. I'm no philosopher, you know?
But I think creatives and philosophers are like very closely related.
Yeah, you
Truth
know,
and comedy.
There's definitely aspects that they share together, except one is a lot smarter than the other one. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna have my viewpoint, and I grew up Christian. I'm still Christian.
Yeah.
I'm always gonna recognize that people are sinning. Like I'm a sinner, you know.
Yeah.
I'm never not a sinner because I'm a human,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, me and other Christians try to ask for forgiveness and those things, but we know that we're still going to fail and we're still going to sin, but we're just trying to do that less and less and less.
Yeah.
Like something you're sinning with today, maybe you can try and prevent sinning tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're still going to sin in something else, but like if you can get control of what you do bad, it's going to be a little bit better as you go on,
Yeah.
you know?
So try to be better. Try to not sin.
Yeah.
Try to be better.
For the atheists out there, just be better than who you were yesterday, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not downing atheists. I'm just
Yeah, of
saying.
course.
I want people being like, oh, this Christian guy on this podcast told me not to sin. It's like, you know what, I'm gonna sin. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah I know you are.
Do you have any advice for people trying to look for like purpose or meaning in their lives?
Do what makes you feel happy.
Yeah.
You know, like my goodness, I feel like. It's a very heavy question.
It is.
These all have been, but like that one is the one that I think is probably the hardest because like what makes you happy now might not make you happy later.
Yeah.
So, okay, just do what makes you happy now as long as it's not harming yourself or others.
Yeah.
Like someone could think, oh, murder is awesome. You know, I love doing it, but that's not good because that's murder.
Be morally righteous and passionate.
I think so.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing something that's contributing to society, you're creating content,
Yes.
or you're even just working out. It's helping you out. If you're doing it and it makes you happy, then just do it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why I try to create content. I try to make the world a better place by having guests like yourself on.
Oh, you big lug. Give me a kiss.
Thank you, Hunter Lewis, for being on this podcast. I really appreciate it. Do
Of
you have
course.
anything else to plug?
Come to the student show, April 15th, Comedy
Yes.
Bar West at 7:30.
This might not come out. This might be a week after.
Go back in time.
Because Chris is on this coming Monday. You're the next Monday.
Okay, well, you know when...
Do you have any, like, of your links or social media you want to plug?
Oh, man. Okay, yeah, sure. So, I don't have them memorized. I know that
You can pull them up real quick.
Yeah, I'll pull them up real quick.
You know, before your ultimate truth was, like, don't try to find the girl, let the girl find you. That was your ultimate truth before.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one I remember.
I stopped caring a lot about
finding love.
relationships and stuff like that because I'm like, it's just going to happen.
That's good. That's a good mindset.
I can't be like, if I do this, that, and the other, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore. But anyways, my professional Instagram is hunter.the.lewis. Please follow. Please.
And your SoundCloud?
And my SoundCloud is... Please load up. My SoundCloud is... it's literally just Hunter, if you can see that.
JUST Hunter. Thank you, Hunter.
It's not just Hunter. It's a Hunter.
Oh, okay. It's literally Hunter. Hunter.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on the podcast. Stay on Average Fools.
Peace out.